What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game. We've just secured our spot to WrestleMania. I'm Johnny Gargano, Rusty Graves, and with me, as always, Tommaso Ciampa, Lee Brown. What's up, Lee?
What's up, Rusty? Gotta get the beard on there, the angry beard with the big chin. He's got such a defined chin for such a thick beard. Anyway, so speaking of buff guys, so I was at the store the other day and I noticed something that I thought was rather funny. I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Did you ever do like protein powder? Ever try to get to the gym, do protein powder, stuff like that? No? Okay, well,
I eat a lot of like pork rinds and things like that for protein. Like if I crunch them up,
right.
do they turn into
Yeah.
protein powder? Does that count?
That turns into, yeah, you just got to mix it in with water and
Peanut butter.
anyway,
Makes my
with
own
milk.
protein balls. Peanut butter and pork rinds. Delicious.
Oh, there you
protein.
go.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So I was, going to the gym and stuff years ago. I was tried to find like protein powder that like didn't taste like garbage. So at the store, they had this new protein powder that on big, like the whole side of the bottle was Fruit Loop flavored protein. And I was like, are we even trying to be healthy anymore? Like, seriously, it's Fruit Loop protein powder.
Sounds good. I bet that market is for guys like me.
You're like less chalky, more Fruit Loops. I'm like, we're not even trying to pretend. It's like, here, have a big giant, like, what do they call it at McDonald's? The McGriddle, where it's like the most caloric intensive stuff you can have. They're like, we added protein to this, so it's healthy.
Those are really
now.
good. Those are really good.
But what I did find at the store finally.
Oh, the strawberry banana. That's the newest flavor. That's the new flavor that they brought that. They featured that product on Raw the night. What's his business partner's name? MSG. KSI.
MSG.
I don't know. Yeah.
Madison Square Garden.
He was carrying it in his hand the night that he got a out of nowhere RKO. Yeah.
Nice.
Really cool.
Yeah, I really like it. It's not near as good as the Cherry Freeze. Cherry Freeze is still like, that was the one I tried first and was like, oh, okay. I apparently like Prime now. All the rest of them have been really good. But
have you tried Ice Pop? Ice Pop's the red, white, and blue one. That's my favorite.
Oh,
I think that's my favorite. There's some debate on Reddit whether or not Cherry Freeze and Ice Pop are the same or different flavors. So it'd be curious to have you do a taste test side by side.
Well, I'm in a major metropolitan area, but it is very difficult to find Prime here. Like, other than at Five Below. Other than that, well, at least this kind, the hydration, you can find the energy drink for whatever reason, but that's not what I'm here for.
And the energy drink's not very good. Like, there are better energy drinks. That ruins our chance at being sponsored by Prime. Sorry, but I love Prime Hydration. I wish the energy drink tasted as good as hydration. So do you not just go look at a gas station, like whatever the fancy gas station is near you, they probably have them.
So, I don't know. We just got this thing called Buc-ee's, which is apparently a really big deal. Big deal.
Yeah, it's so I grew up next to the original Buc-ee's. So it's so it's weird now to see it become a phenomenon. I stopped at Buc-ee's last week in South Carolina, and it was a zoo. I mean, it felt like the full capacity of a Six Flags theme park inside a gas station is what it felt like. Yeah.
Well, now I know what to get. I mean, it's not nearby me. Like, it's in the metro, but I mean, the Denver metro area is massive. So
Buc-ee's didn't have Prime though, just for the record.
Oh,
yeah, they didn't have it because I looked.
Well, we're getting Buc-ee's. We just got like our 20th In-N-Out burger. They came here a few months ago, and then now it's everywhere, sort of thing. So we got Raising Cane's, which is the best chicken on the planet. Fight me in the comment section. Anyway.
So go to the non-fancy gas station for the Prime. Try that. So because Buc-ee's didn't have it. So maybe at the local Quickie Mart, the Quickie, the one you think your credit card information might get stolen from.
That's where it's going to be. Except for like, so at Walmart, because this they did have finally at Walmart, they have like one or
Yeah.
two flavors. It's a
Yeah.
dollar and 80 cents. At the gas
$1.88. Yep.
station, it's like $5.
Yeah.
So,
2 for $5. So a lot of gas stations will run a deal and they'll be 2 for $5.
okay.
Well,
What are we doing on this episode now? We've been talking about food and drinks,
we're going
but
to look at the MLC Pace, right? You remember a few weeks ago, everybody's like,
yeah,
where are the points? Where are they?
right.
Where are they? So we're going to talk about what's the update? Where are the points? We're going to talk about what in the heck is happening with midweek gameplay. Is there a really high bar for the midweek? We're going to talk about specifically this Dudley event, and is it a precedent that we might see more of coming forward? And then I think we're going to get to some WrestleMania talk, WWE TV, see what's happening there.
Yeah.
Sounds like
That's
a good
good.
show.
Sounds like a good show to me. Where are you at on the pace, Rusty?
All right, so today's March 21st. The MLC's been live, what, three? This is week 3 of a
Week 3,
5-week.
got 2 more weeks to go.
Yes.
2 and whatever's left of this one.
I have spent a little. That matters though when we're talking about
Right.
the pace.
Right.
I did the kickoff pack, right? The 4-star Kyrie kickoff pack.
So did I.
That put me on the road to I'm at 411K. So
Okay.
week 3 of 5, I've got about 90,000 points to go. What you're showing now, if I'm interpreting this correctly, is that you just passed 500K week 3.
Yesterday.
Week 3. So this is the middle of week 3 before this is the last day for points in week 3. Tomorrow
In the
will
midweek
be,
event. Yeah.
right, but it's the last day for MLC points because there's no
Right.
MLC points in the weekend event.
Right. That's true.
So let's say the end of week 3 you maxed.
Yep.
And the end of week 3, I've got another week of points to go, basically.
Right. Well, you've got 2 weeks, but I mean,
but I need is about another 100K.
Yeah.
So I need
right.
What is it that you did to answer the question, where are the points and how will I get them? And why have you maxed already? So tell us your secret sauce if you have one.
Well, there's a combination of 3 things, 2 of which are not going to make everybody happy. One of which is I did spend. I did a mega pull on the that's right. I did a mega pull on the loot that's because it had Bray Wyatt in it again. I still don't have Bray Wyatt, but the one that's like the month-long loot that the coins stay the same, but they change each week. So it's like the Road to WrestleMania loot. I did a mega pull there. And so like the 69 coins, and then I just spread it out. I did like 23 of them week 1, and then I did the other set of them during week 2 because there was bonus points in different events. So I knew that I was going to try for Bray, and then I was hoping he'd be in the loot again for week 2, along with maybe some other characters that I didn't have. So that was a part of it.
Can I just say one thing about that?
Yeah.
I would guess that most people don't know you can do that because they are probably afraid that they will go away, that that the currency will expire.
Right. That only is true with the month-long coins. The ones that are like each week it's, whatever event, week 1 coin, whatever event week, it's the same coin for that throughout the entire month, but you can't carry it over into the next month. And you definitely don't want to try this with any of the specialty loots, that are like for that specific event. Otherwise you're going to lose your coins. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2 and number 3.
Number 2, number 3. So number 2 was I did have some of the CSS for the tours. So like, for example, one of them required Legends Era Shinsuke, and I got 20,000 MLC points for that.
Yeah. Off one node. That was crazy.
Off one. Yeah, that's huge. The third one is accessible to most. I would say everybody, but it really depends on your willingness to grind or spend, of course. But from spending on the portal, you end up with web coins, which then goes into blah blah blah. Or you do the trivia that we haven't talked about in a long time because I did it so much I burned out on it, and it's like I never want to see it again.
I haven't
But
touched it. I don't touch
uh,
trivia.
but the
Not for
last
me.
2 months on the Webcoin Shop, the month-long Webcoin event have been really good. Like if you can hit, there's certain ones where you spend like whatever 500 Webcoin or 1,000 Webcoin, whatever it is, and you get like 8 or 9,000 or 28,000. And one time I saw things like that points, and then you can max out the little chests that are on the bottom there.
Yeah.
So you scroll down, and in that it's got the last node has 100,000 keys. So whatever week you can do that, get that one in. That helps the faction event, which moves you forward, blah blah blah. But it also has a ton of MLC solo points. And I guess the Shadow Fourth is just being in such a good faction. We've maxed every faction event. In fact, we were number one on the kickoff event, and then we've been in the 10 to 20 range for every other event. So we are getting the benefit of our faction as well. So I guess there's four things in that. So a good faction and raiding the coin wall, anybody can do if you can get into a faction that maxes. The other two, are variable. I just got really lucky on the CSS this time because I don't have every character for sure, but spending is spending. So how about you, sir?
Well,
Thoughts?
I haven't spent as much. I haven't done the flash market um clear out either. And
Okay.
I don't know if I just missed it or if I didn't like the week that has the high XP. Was that Ruby or Coin? Was it a
Well,
Ruby week?
both. I mean, the
Both.
Ruby
Okay.
one, that's a lot more rare because that does pretty much require spending.
Right.
And I can't do I mean, I can do every once in a while, like once a month or so, I can really go for a Ruby prize wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look, and I will say this month's Webcoin shop has not had the high multipliers like last month's did. Last
Okay.
month's I maxed it day one. Day
Yeah.
one, I maxed that. This
That's what I
month I've
was
had to just
wondering.
chip away at it.
Okay. I was actually wondering that because I've been waiting for that glorious day where I will see, the plus 8,000 XP
Right.
for, 12 web coins, right?
Right.
And then
Or
it's like,
something like it.
get a
Yeah.
free reroll, hit it
Yep.
again. So if you're not
Yep.
doing that, let me just say what Lee just gave you was 4 areas that let's say they were like legs on a table, if you will,
Oh,
right? um and maybe you've been in a place where your table felt wobbly, right? Have you ever been in a restaurant where you're like trying to eat? We go to this
nice.
Mexican restaurant every Friday before our stream as a family if we can.
Really?
And
Hmm.
and inevitably we always get put at the wobbly table, and I usually put a folded coaster to stabilize the leg. All that to say, um, you're going to have to compensate one of the other 3 areas if you can't
Yeah.
up the fourth.
Yeah.
Meaning, if you love your faction, but you're not
Mm.
in the top 100, you're probably going to have to spend more than someone
Yeah.
who is in the top
Right.
50 or the top 20,
Yep.
right? You're going to have to spend more, or you're
Yep.
going to have to grind harder, right? Or
Right.
you're going to have all of the CSS, right? So
Right.
so essentially, if this equation takes some balance, and I think the sweet spot is if you can, and check me if I'm wrong here, Lee, at a minimum, let's say you're not a big spender and you want to
Yeah.
see that table leg stabilize. Um,
Right.
one of the easiest ways to spend wisely in the game would be the weekend 499 collector's pack, one of one, in game
Mm.
only. It's not on the portal. you get 2 pulls, you get inventory towards the flash feud steps,
Right.
and you usually get some sort of contest points or so at the very minimum, if you only want to spend $5 a week on the game, that
Mhm.
would I would say it's the best $5 you could spend. Would you have a different opinion or a different point of view?
I don't know if I have a different opinion. I'll be honest, I don't buy it. That's not one that I personally go for. So
Don't yuck my yum. Don't yuck my
I'm not
yum.
trying.
I
I'm
got
just saying,
Judgment
I don't.
Day Finn Balor from that 2 coin
You
loot.
did, yeah.
It's been very good to me
Right.
over the last few months. And it's
Okay.
like when I'm not doing big pulls and I'm doing just the little 2 coin, every so often I'll hit something good.
Something like that.
Now that was
Okay.
great. That was the great,
Right.
that was the extreme version of.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, like I said, I don't want to yuck
Would you say
your
the King of
yum.
Kings? Some people might say King of Kings Pass would be the one thing
Right.
if they only spend on one area and they're only spending $5 to $10 on the game.
Right.
Would you
Well, we
say,
talked about when we first started the podcast, maybe a little ways into it. At that time, I was spending about $60 a month. That was my budget for the game. And I did buy the King of Kings pass as a big part of that. There are some, like Captain Jack, Mike Fish, that was on the last episode. What he does is he'll buy the King of Kings pass 1 week out of every
oh,
month. And so
okay.
then that way he gets, the benefit for the kickoff and does all that kind of stuff. He'll do the Champions Tour each, the monthly. There's always a Champions Tour. He'll do that, so he'll get like boom. So you can strategize even around that. It's like $3 US to buy it for 1 week, and that's what Jack does. I've had the King of Kings pass for a long stretch. Getting those, probably seeing diminishing returns on some of it now, just because I do have all the IOW out of the King of Kings shop now. So I
Oh,
did get that. But again, you do get MLC points that way. You get,
because
the ability to use
The
Triple
King of
H. You
Kings
get right,
MLC tour, right, will give
right,
you, I don't know, 10,000 or so points, probably,
right.
maybe more. Yeah,
Maybe
maybe more.
more. Yeah. So I mean, spending wise, I would just say, make sure you have a budget. Don't go nuts. Like we've done some things these last few months that I'm like, I probably wouldn't do that
I'm
again
not
that
proud
way.
of the things I've done.
With
I'm
the
not
Bray
proud.
Wyatt
I'm not proud of
polls,
the man that I am today.
yeah, you know.
Lee, let me ask you this. Compare, okay? I have some guys that swear by the backstage pass. Um,
Yeah,
I think the backstage pass has improved significantly since the
yeah,
last time I bought it. They showed
yeah.
me their screenshots of what came in the weekly backstage pass. Are you a backstage passer or not?
Again, with my $60 before I was doing King of Kings Pass, I did have part of my MLC plan was I bought the Backstage Pass every month or every week. So it's what, $10, it was 40 of my $60 was right there. I just felt like for a while there, the Backstage Pass got really especially on solo MLC points.
Mm,
Um, I don't remember. I know I've done one Backstage Pass. I think I did it this month. In fact, I know it was week 1 this month. I did a Backstage Pass to see it, and it was good. It was good to me. I would say they're hit or miss. I would poll the community and say,
right.
hey, how are you finding the Backstage Pass this month or this week? Like I say, I
Yeah.
definitely don't do it every week though. I was doing it every week for a while there. But once I got to a point where I could comfortably max the MLC without it, I stopped doing it because that
Let's
was why
ask
I bought it.
let's ask a question of our listeners. If you are viewers, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, and if you had
Or Apple
ten
Music.
dollars to or Apple Music, if you only had $10 to spend on the game, what is the best use of that $10? Is it the
Yeah.
weekly collector's pack? Is it the King of Kings pass? Or is it the backstage pass? Or is it something way better that we haven't even considered that you've figured out that you could let
Right.
us know of? So that was
So
our
real quick before we leave
yeah,
that
yeah,
spot
yeah.
though, Merrick's talks a lot. I was on stream with him this week and
He
he
does
brought up
talk a lot.
again.
Merrick's does talk a lot, Lee. Say it again for the chat.
Merrick talks a lot about Merrick talks a lot about the fact that if you're going to spend, especially on polls
Yeah,
specifically,
right,
always make sure there's something there for it. So, for example, I went harder on to get this new Steve Austin than I have aside from Bray Wyatt, who I didn't get still. And I did get him. However, I did the tally on the shards and figured, okay, I can get here. Either if not, I was pretty sure that if I didn't get there that weekend, that he would be in some loot again, and there'd be some things for him where I would get him soon enough.
right.
But I did the math, and I was pretty sure there was a path forward to him. There have been other times, and again, the Bray Wyatt loot, of course, where that didn't benefit us at all. Like, you need to look through and say, okay, if I spend, like, it's better, like if you have, let's say, $100 to spend on this game in a month, it's better to do one strategic mega pull versus doing $5 here, $5 here, $5 here, $5 here, $5 here. Only if, though, you can see, okay, if I buy this, then it has these things in there that I need. It'll give me this
Yeah,
milestone. It'll give me this bonus points. And I
right.
do try to live by that other than random Bray Wyatt
And that would
pulls.
be maybe the flagship offer on the portal, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe
Yeah.
let's say for example, maybe it's zombie week, right? And you're like, oh my
Gotta be coming
gosh,
soon.
I want to be I want to go full out zombies. Now there's the guarantee that you're going to get something zombie, right? That week versus if you're just hoping, or Hall of Fame,
Right.
right? Hall of Fame event.
Right.
There's ways to strategically address your roster needs. If it's female, go after
Right.
female loot, female offers, right? Don't just throw money and wish your female roster would get better. Just wait
Right.
or buy strategically or get specific moment. This moment
Right.
this month is really going to help so
Really
many
good.
of my female roster that it's essentially like having a plate that I can move around to a bunch of different girls.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that maybe is a dumb way to look at it, but it's just
No, no,
really
it
good.
is really
It's
good.
in Magic we'd call it a static ability. It's an ability that is just a permanent feature of that. And so for this moment, was it Women's Revolution moment?
Yeah. Evolution. Yeah.
So hopefully those of you listening are saving and trying to get that moment out of
Right.
the shop. Lee, I'm
And to
wondering
answer a
this.
question was on Facebook, yes, you do need 10 of it to
Yes,
unlock it. Because I saw
yes.
somebody who did one and was like, it didn't unlock. I'm
Where's my
like,
moment, bro?
do you see where it says out of 10?
Yeah, that's a
So,
feel bad for sure if you only got the
yeah.
one. Lee, I wonder, since we're talking about spinning a little bit, I wonder if the best, if rather than a mega or equal to a mega,
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering if the best thing you can buy is the 4-star kickoff pack,
Huh?
because you get access to that prize wall,
Right.
the half
That
off
is true.
prize wall all month long.
That is true.
So
I've
the
done that for
moment,
2 months now. I hadn't had that really in the past. I don't think I ever did
right?
it. And I've had it for 2 months. And yeah, it makes a huge difference. Like, getting even just the fact that you do that and you can fairly relatively get to 5-star in week 1-ish for
Right,
your free character, but on ones like this where there are 5 weeks, you still only need 4 of those special coins that
right.
you get for having a 5-star. So as long as you can get
Yeah,
there by week 2, then you can guarantee yourself a powerful strap and a plate. The plate that's up there this time is the Thugonomics, which was a free one, which I don't like the fact that, but
right.
sometimes it's a pretty rare plate. Like, it has been before and this
Bulldog
is where I started paying
Bracers
attention to it.
was in the
Yeah,
it's great. That's a great
right.
plate for Kevin
Sometimes they're pretty
Owens.
rare. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it for as many megas as I've bought and as much money that I feel like I've wasted, I think that kickoff pack feels like a better purchase. And
Interesting.
that it puts me in a place where I'm going to get access to that half off shop all month. It puts me in a place where I'm essentially guaranteed to max the MLC because of the superstar being, and maybe I'm speaking, out of the side of my mouth. It's unpredictable
Right.
still. There's nothing guaranteed, but it just feels like I'm there. That's
Yeah.
the silver bullet to get the potentially shard recruit. Did you shard recruit Sonya, or have you coin
I have
recruited
not,
her?
but that's the path. So I have not cashed in the coins yet. I don't have her on my roster simply because I am 1,200 shards short. And so that means I've got a pretty solid path to shard recruit her.
Yeah.
So if I'm guessing she's going to be one of the bonus for flash feuds this next weekend. And so if that's the case, then I might coin recruiter, 3-star recruiter early if I haven't gotten the 5-star, but I'm pretty sure I can get to 5-star this month. I
If
normally
I,
don't, but I think I can this
yeah.
time.
So if I could go back in time, let me, I'm not trying to sell you on anything. In case you're listening out there and be like, these guys are Scopely sharks, they get a royalty from them. We don't, right? But let me say this: if I could go back in time and the month that D'Lo or
Mm,
Powerhouse Strowman, if I could go back in time and and buy the 4-star kickoff, knowing
mm,
what I know now,
right?
and playing the game to the level I play it now, that would have been more advantageous for me than probably the money I spent on the game or the pulls I did both of
Yeah.
those months. And it would have essentially, and I think guaranteed that I would have gotten those coveted superstars that I missed out on because I didn't max those months. Um, yeah, that's my, hindsight's 2020. So like I said, I'm not trying to get you to spend, but if you are spending, I want to see you spend wisely on
Right.
things that you get and enjoy and that are a little more guaranteed than
Right.
than a, what is it called? Guaranteed featured.
Yeah. Yeah, you can put a guarantee on the side of a box and you can crack it. Never
Don't
mind. It's a yeah.
ever think that guaranteed featured means you get the pretty
Anything.
things you see at the top of that
Right.
loop. So
Oh,
again,
we've proved it. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if I could buy the kickoff on Delos month, I
Right.
I probably should have done that instead of, because then if you don't max that month, to shard recruit an MLC chase character feels impossible.
Oh yeah.
Five
I'm
five
still
thousand
chasing Powerhouse
shards?
Kevin Owen.
Yeah, 5,000 shards of a guy that's
Yeah.
not going to be in the loot very often.
Right. And
It's
shards aren't
nearly
going to be in there very
impossible.
often.
And
Right.
5,000 shards is a ton of shards.
Yeah.
And so let's say you did well, but you didn't max that month, you probably got 2,000 shards. So you got
Right.
3,000 left to go of a
Right.
chase that it will be a really hard path. It will be a really
Right.
hard path.
Well, and it
Um,
looks like some of the chase characters are becoming more flowing freely, but not the powerhouse bronze, not the powerhouse Kevin Owens, not the
Not
ones like
D'Lo.
D'Lo
I'm not
that are
seeing D'Lo.
really strong. It's the ones
Right.
that they're like, that one wasn't as good as we hoped, and so here you
Thrasher,
go. He's in there.
everybody.
Yeah, you can
Thrasher.
have this one out there. But so just to finish your
Showboat
analogy
Bailey, two
there with
years late. Showboat
that's right.
Bailey.
Last year. She was last year. But
Oh, yeah.
anyway, so the legs analogy that you just used there. So that's a good example. I'm actually spending similar to or less than I was when I was in my previous faction, but I am seeing a lot more out of it. Like we did, I was like hoping I could max, and I was maxing like the last day, last week for sure, but like that last couple days, even with my spending. Whereas now again, I mentioned we as in Toxic Mafia were the number one faction in the kickoff tour, like bar none. That alone got us 20,000 MLC points. So that's another big hit as to why am I so far ahead? Well, we got week one, we got a bonus 20,000 solo MLC points. Whereas if you're in a sub 100 faction, you're not getting anything. Whereas, but if you're in a decent faction, top whatever, let's say top 50 even, you're going to get some bonus points that I was spending to try. Like that's why I stopped doing the whatchamacallit pass, the Backstage Pass, because I was basically spending to make up for MLC points that I wasn't getting elsewhere. Now I'm getting those, so I stopped spending on that. I still spend a similar amount of money. I just allocate it now to more fun things for me as opposed to just trying to max the MLC. So that's that legs analogy. If your faction is better, you can spend less. If you are in not as good a faction, you have to grind more, or you have to spend, or you have to,
Or both.
so
Yeah.
or all, yeah,
Yeah.
all those things.
So Lee, what is change of subject here? What the heck's happening with the midweek? What is this?
Yeah.
We used to have some fun tours, right? Some fun. We used to get a lot of tours on the MLC.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing things like Rock for President or Valentine's Day, Unreachable Gear event, this Dudley, what is it called? Princess of Dudleyville.
Diddly
Um,
doodly.
so
Duchess.
why is the bar so high with the midweek? And
Yeah.
and um and does it affect the MLC point? I mean, are the points not in the and that's like, what is the difference between an event and a contest? Because I don't even know what to call. I just call it the midweek, but like, is it a midweek event, or are there multiple contests or part of an event? Let's Why don't we do that's a broad topic to say,
That's a lot of questions to
why don't
answer.
we dissect this Dudley event
Okay.
as a means of saying, what are we seeing with the midweek,
Right.
and what are ways to navigate forward? What does the path forward look like?
Whew. Well, so they did a community poll recently, and it was what's your favorite type mode in this game, which included faction feud, boss battle, showdown, all those things. And number one by a far margin was tours, just regular old-fashioned tours. So I'm sure we'll see some adjustment based on that, but it does seem like the midweek events went from things that were like, here's a few tours to get you by, and the weekend was the big focus. Now it really seems like the midweek and the weekend are kind of an equal focus. So yeah, it is strange. And they went from there was solo MLC points in all week, including the weekend event, and then they took away the solo points from the weekend event. Now they've taken away the solo points from the midweek event, but there are midweek points in some ways, and the midweek event does that. So it's kind of confusing right now, I would say. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, if you've been on Discord this month, um, I would
A
probably
Champions
summarize
Discord server.
every every conversation this month with, "Hey, I'm freaking out. Hey, let's
Right.
wait and see what happens.
Right.
Hey, let's wait and see what happens." But, well, I don't know. Okay, well, the points
Right.
were there. Okay, I feel a little better
Yeah.
about it. But like,
Right.
and that's not just that's like all Discord, Reddit, Facebook, every
Yeah.
place people are chatting, typing about champions. The Twitch chats that the blog reveals. There's a little bit of a state of panic as to like, I've had a taste of maxing and I really like it.
Right.
I don't want to lose that, but I
Right.
also don't understand where are the points and what the heck is going on in the
Right.
midweeks. So
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, and it does seem to be it's not as clear at least. You're right. You are going, where are they? Okay, they showed up. Woo! But it's not like, oh, they're there.
yeah,
I do this, I get those, I move
right.
on. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, whoa, there they are. Oh, now they showed up. Yeah. And like with the Duchess of Dudleyville event, something I was gonna say, we've talked, we'll go back to it, but we talked a little bit about the 6-star gold meta coming. And I think the reality that people aren't
Allegedly.
allegedly, yeah, we don't know when. We know it's coming. We know it's coming. We just don't
Allegedly.
know when.
Put an
Um,
asterisk next to our whole show.
yeah,
Allegedly. The whole thing.
Side effects include subject to
every
change.
every word we say on this show is allegedly. So
Right, right. But I think that what people aren't realizing, and we're seeing it in this event in particular too, is that while we've talked about the difference between normal, hard, and hell mode. And for a while, it got to be where everybody just assumed I should be able to do hell mode. I should be able to do the whole thing all the way. Whereas normal and hard mode are probably where the average player in the community should be able to beat. Hell mode should be a bit more of a challenge. So, for example, in the Duchess of Dudleyville
it
event,
should be hell.
I am struggling to get to and through hell mode because it requires that your character be a 6-star. And I
Or
think that's the
it,
new hell mode requirement is that it
oh,
should be a 6-star. Like,
oh, that's a feel bad.
yeah, that's
So not only
so
6-star, but I like let me insert arguably the worst superstar in the entire game is
yes,
Heck Stacy Keebler.
yes,
Art maybe
yes.
one of the Bella twins, but like she's
Mm, mm,
horrible. It
yeah.
took me over an hour to get a win with her for a 3-minute moveset video that I was trying to beat someone at a similar talent level with.
Right.
And it was
She's terrible.
maddening. I accidentally
Yeah.
won because I made enough botch gyms and they couldn't kick out. And I was
Right.
like,
Right.
Lord help the community because this is
Well,
frustrating.
well,
Frustrating.
here's the thing. So I with this event, I ended up taking her 6-star, and
Oh, gross.
I I cannot get past that. I'm at 6 out of 12 on hell mode with her as 6-star. That's as far as I can get.
Even with like
So,
dumping props in her, are you still
oh,
losing?
I've gone through, like, I had a healthy
Oh,
cache of props that I've
oh.
gone through them on this event. Like
Makes my head hurt to
this
think
event.
about that we would have to like okay, like if
Mine's
you
six
want to
star now.
if you want to grind it out with one of the superstars they just reworked
Right.
in last month. Make an Alexa Bliss tour, right? Where you get to use
Right.
triple purple Alexa. They're
Right.
selling the Alexa gear for dirt cheap. Let me just say, I've got a bone to pick with you,
Uh-oh.
Scopely. I was promised that gear would be ultra rare and never offered again. The gray and red bikini
Uh-huh.
gear that I have on my Alexa that I
Yeah.
spent to get, right? How dare they offer that to the rest of the community?
5 years later.
Yeah, I know, right? Just kidding. Just kidding. But that is the
Wow.
way some people feel about getting something in the game. They want to close the gate behind them and no one else should get it, right?
Well, that's what they did with Hall of Fame Booker T. He was only available for one weekend and he's never in the game again. And they've stuck to that. But what good does that do the rest of the community? Like, yay,
Yeah.
you got it. I like Merrick's thing is timed. If you had like what you talked about with that gear, you paid for that gear. It's ultra rare for a year, maybe even 2 years. After that, start releasing the floodgates on it because what good is it doing anybody to have that Alexa Bliss gear anymore? I mean,
I love
she's not
Alexa. I
relevant.
love Alexa.
She's not relevant.
She is my relevant in my heart. She's my favorite.
But to finish out this thing, because I think this is going to, this goes beyond this event, is to be able to get into hell mode. I think the new standard is at least 6-star bronze, at least. But okay, here's the thing: if you saw my polls video, Rusty, from this
Oh,
week from the Duchess of Dudley,
I
I got a
did.
6-star bronze
Hugga
Acro
Bailey.
Bailey.
Hugga Bailey. I saw it. I watched it this morning and I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
So they're dropping 6 stars the way that they used to drop 4 stars, right? But it's like
with the
these,
fuse, you mean? I
right?
guess
Yeah, with the
fuses.
fuses.
Yeah, big fuse.
Yeah. And what I did like about this event, and I will give it credit for this, I will need today's update, like once it updates the next part of it today to be able to do this. But if you were able to get to a certain point, at least hard mode, I got to hard mode and was able to do this. You were able then to get enough prize wall medallions to unlock one of the two Dudley boys. And then if you could take them to at least hard mode, you got almost enough prize wall medallions to get the other Dudley boy. And then so basically, as long as you could
Oh,
get to, let's just say node one of hell mode on each,
right.
theoretically you could get that guy, then use him to get the next guy, then use him to get her gear, or some combination thereof. And I do like that structure. I think that was fun because you were using one to unlock the other, and then you were
That's
losing.
true.
And I can't take Bubba. I don't have enough showboat tokens to take Bubba even 5-star gold. So I am sitting with a 5 silver on my account working towards hell mode. And then I'll
Well,
have Devon today, and we'll be able to then turn around and get Stacy's gear, which then will allow me to hopefully beat the rest of the nodes on hell mode. So I do like that. Like
you
it
want to
makes
log
you
in and
grind
play for
here to get
me? Would you
there.
do that? Would you log in my account and play those for me?
Uh, I don't have that much time.
So okay. Now I know, let me just let me see if I'm clear on what you're saying. I have been no spending this week. So it's like
Yep.
free to play as I
Yep.
can be for this week. I have exactly from boss battle in the tours, I have exactly enough medallions to buy one thing between
Right.
the Dudleys or the Stacy gear. I can buy one of
Right.
them.
Right.
They're telling me if I buy one,
Theoretically.
then I should be able to do the tour with that one to get more prize wall currency to get another one. But
Yeah.
so conventional wisdom says wait till the end of the event to spend anything on the prize wall.
Right.
Um, so you're saying defy conventional wisdom and forsake something that might be better, the opportunity for something that's maybe better on the. So for me,
It's
like
possible.
the man Becky Lynch gear or the Oscar
Oh,
gear would be
yeah.
like if I could get those, like I
Yeah.
would be
I have
really
both those.
happy. I don't
Okay.
really want a Dudley, but you're saying the only way maybe to get the Becky gear would be to spend and get a Dudley and then get more currency, almost make the dominoes fall that way. Is that what you're
That's the way I'm playing it. That doesn't mean that's the way you have to play it. But again, you need to be able to take them where they can get into hell mode. So
right?
you need to be able to take them 5 silver, 5 gold, maybe even 6-star
So
to
that would
make
be
it cascade
the paid
properly.
offer would be the only guarantee. And I'm not going to buy it, but the
Oh,
paid offer of like
yeah.
30
I didn't do that.
bucks American for six
Right.
star, that would
Yeah.
be so you're but with your
Or you
theory,
just level them up the hard way. I mean, I took
well,
Bubba 0 to 5 silver the hard way, and
but what I'm saying is to spend no prize wall currency. You could buy
oh,
one of
yeah,
them, one of
right,
them,
right.
and then that would start. That would
That would start the
maybe,
cascade because then you could
yeah.
unlock, like, let's say you bought Devon, you
Hmm.
could get Bubba, then you go through Bubba's tours, and then you have the enough to get Stacy's or whoever. If you can get Stacy, you have to have her like 6 silver to even.
Oh,
Anyway,
with
like
her
she's.
gear. But what
Well,
about
no,
with
I
what
haven't
if you got
unlocked her
her
gear
gear
yet. I
first?
do plan to unlock the gear
Three
just
hundred
because I do have
percent.
Asuka and
All
Becky's.
her gems do 300% damage.
Yeah, it's got to help.
Seems
It's
decent.
got to help.
She's the worst.
One of the content creators in our content creator chat message Furpo and was like, "You forgot a 0 on the gear. Should be 3,000% to make her relevant." But
Yeah.
oh, oh,
Do you think that so? I mean, if I'm hearing what you're saying correctly, Lee, the bar is higher on
yeah.
the midweeks, and you're okay with it. An example being Memrock was a
Oh wow,
CSS tour required. That's
I don't
so
have Memrock.
crazy. You had to have a 6-star China to
Yep,
do level 18 boss battle to get those points.
yep. I took my China 6-star for that.
It feels like oh barf. That's a horrible decision tree that I hope I just was like, nope, not doing that.
Well, but
Um,
here's the thing, you're getting into the bonus ones at that point. So again, I think we have to go back to the idea of normal and hard mode should be accessible to everybody.
right.
Hell mode necessarily shouldn't. We've just gotten used to where I should be able to do hell mode. I should be able to get all the bonus. I should be able to, but the reality is the golden chest, whatever it is. Now, Scopely does get it wrong often, but
What?
the golden chest theoretically is the end of the free to play metric, and hard mode is the end of the free to play metric for tours. Hell mode and bonus nodes are exactly that, and CSS are technically bonus. So, so those are things that we have to change our mindset on to think everybody should be able to access that. Those are kind of in-game content more so than they are everybody in the pool content.
We talked about last week or a few weeks ago about game life in the game can feel like an airplane. So
Yeah.
it seems like you're back to telling me the first class are going to get some things that I'm just not
Yeah.
going to get and coach. And you better be okay with that. That like stop looking behind the curtain and wishing you had it. Like, is that what you like? Stop looking through hell mode if you know you can't do it. Is that what you're telling me, lately?
I
That
mean, I'm just telling you,
it's
do
not
what you
going to
can.
work?
Do what you can, but the expectation and the expectancy ought to be if I can get through, if I can get to hell mode and do stuff in there, even if I can't do the bonus, that's great. If I don't have a 6-star China and can't take her 6-star, that's okay. That's going to get me into the bonus nodes, not into the, like the middle of the pack. That's going to put me towards the top end of things. So just change of thoughts, change of attitudes.
As a sigh, because I think that's all. That's the appropriate response to this conversation. Is a sigh of like, I was starting to feel good about my roster. That I kind of broke the 5 million threshold, right?
Congrats.
I'm in the 5 million zone now. And now you're telling me that my anybody who's not 6-star on my roster is essentially going to be worthless soon. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to, get all these fuses on crummy cards I don't like or want to use. And I'm okay having like Y2J down there at 2-star unleveled. Like I'm okay.
He
I
won't be
don't want to.
required for anything for a while, I don't
I don't
think.
ever want to use that. I don't ever want. I'm okay having pro Valor, down there at untalented.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to. Anyway, so I'm grumbling. I'm griping. Um, but if I could summarize what you just said, this contest was you're not necessarily spending on the things you want, but
Yeah.
spending on the things you need to get the things you want. And that's a new paradigm. And that causes a little consternation in my
Yeah.
brain because I'm
Yeah.
not always capable of seeing the pathway forward like you described with the Dudley event.
Right.
I think I'm gonna need even more communication from the smart math mathletes in our faction and around the community that are able to figure that out. Um,
Gotcha.
I think that's all in the game this month. We've got weekend coming up, but
This
what
week.
is happening with the real world of professional wrestling, Lee?
Oh,
We're on the road to
well,
WrestleMania.
we are on the road to WrestleMania, and I have a question. Is the current WWE product entering into a new attitude era or an attitude era like boom? Is it entering into a new attitude era or a new attitude era like boom? Because statistically, we just talked about math a little bit. Wrestling across the board, and especially WWE, is about as hot as it's ever been. Like, remember during the Attitude Era where they were selling out every arena that they went to,
Yeah, yeah.
every Raw, every SmackDown? Like, we're getting back to that again. And both The Rock and Cody Rhodes, if you've seen some of the behind the scenes chatter, getting in a little bit of trouble for potty mouths because everybody else isn't allowed to use the dirty words, but they use some dirty words on TV, which, is kind of pushing that, are we going back to a TV 14 rating? or style as opposed to a PG product again. So thoughts on that? What do you think about either the Attitude Era or Attitude Era like boom that's happening?
Um, okay, so I'll use the language of mainstream. I really like that wrestling has re-entered mainstream popularity,
Yeah.
and that it's not um just a very small niche of the population that follow it. Where
Yeah.
now COVID era, it was very taboo. It was a very bad product. It just wasn't
Wasn't designed for that.
fun to watch. Now, even before
Right.
the Thunderdome era, I think
Okay.
wrestling was at its all-time low in my lifetime.
Hmm.
I mean, just was
Interesting.
bad. Just was bad. NXT had disintegrated.
Hmm.
Other rival companies were rising. They weren't quite sure what to do with the main brand and who should have the belts. And poor Roman it had a resurgence, a relapse in his cancer. I mean, it was
Right.
just bad. It was a bad era. It was a
Right.
bad era. So
Right.
3 years later, my tattoo artist um, just designed her bathroom in Stone Cold Steve Austin merchandise and wrestling stickers at
Wow.
the most popular tattoo shop in town. She's female,
Wow.
right? A female. Her name's Ashley B. Tattoo, by the way, if you want to check
Wow.
out. She was on Ink Master season 4. One of my favorite people.
Ooh.
So she went to the house show that was in Charleston Sunday night, posted all over her, and she's a highly influential person in my
Right.
city, and she's marking out ringside to Rhea Ripley.
Wow.
So I was like, this is a cultural moment that I think even surpasses the Attitude Era because of what's
Ooh.
possible with social media and
Right.
the prominence. When something goes mainstream now, it goes viral. It goes
Right.
viral to everyone's phones.
Right.
That wasn't possible in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
selling more merchandise and running more specials and more ads and more promos and more mobile apps and games and
Mm.
there is a singular Hasbro, I believe is the brand, wrestling figure goes
Uh-huh.
for over $20 now at Target. Because
Some more than that.
I wanted to get a wrestling figure for my office, and I was like,
Yeah.
these things are $20. The cheap ones are $20.
Right.
This is a really financially prosperous season, more so than the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Every presser that Triple H does, record numbers, record
Record
sales,
profits.
record visibility, record
Yep.
viewers. And they're
Yep.
able to track all of that because of the digital
Right.
apps and the Peacock subscriptions and da 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 da.
Right.
This attitude is hotter than the Attitude Era.
Okay.
There are more people alive on the planet than there were 30 years ago in the Attitude Era.
So we're just blaming the new baby boom. I gotcha.
But I'm just saying, like
Right.
the possibility of, and we're in the B now, the possibility of a billion people watching WrestleMania this year
Right.
is
That's so crazy.
realistic. That's
Yeah.
that's realistic.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
And no, I hit my desk, so hopefully that wasn't loud
Oh no, I
on
didn't
the
hear it.
audio, but oh good. And we talked about this very briefly a few episodes, actually a few months ago. But WWE at the end of this year is going to Netflix, which means it will have the widest availability it's had in a long time.
Right,
And maybe I'm scrolling Netflix and I see, oh, WrestleMania. Man, I watched that when I was a kid. I wonder what that's
right.
about now. And you see LA Knight, you see Cody Rhodes, you see some of these things. You're like, oh, this is really good.
And you'll say it's
Oh,
very entertaining.
oh.
The
Right.
product is more entertaining than it was in the Attitude Era. In the Attitude Era, I had to turn off the TV when my mom would walk in the room. I could not be caught watching
Right.
a scene where Sable was on screen.
Oh yeah.
But now, 14-year-old could have on wrestling,
Right.
and the women are actually being utilized for their in-ring skill, for their athleticism, for their killer promo ability on the mic.
Yeah.
They're actually celebrated for their brains and for just their sheer, dynamic charisma more than just a pillow fight or a lingerie match or whatever the disgusting
mud wrestling
portrayal of women was 30 years ago during wrestling. My daughters can have role models like Bailey. NXT huggable Bailey was legit my daughter's role model. And that there's virtue behind the female talent, that they're honorable. The faces. Now the heels, but
they should be despicable, but
right. But that's what's so interesting. Like you have a heel, probably top heel, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
And yet little girls look up to her, admire her, want to be her, want to get tattoos like her, want to wear their hair like her. And she's not just a piece of meat being touted around the ring for photo ops. She's dominant in the ring and crushing her opponent. She's powerful. And the modern woman is powerful, right? And they're allowed to be powerful. I don't know. I think it's the new Attitude Era. It's better.
Right. New Attitude Era. But the difference being this time around, I mean, key difference number one is women less, I wouldn't say not at all, but certainly much, much less objectification going on there. I mean, to an nth degree. Like, the Attitude Era, you got 2 minutes to wrestle. It was a bra and panties match, and you better show something to make the audience get happy.
Make it shocking. It was shocking. It was the Howard TV. Stern model from shock jock.
Jerry Springer and Howard.
Give them something to talk about the next day at work.
Right.
And shock and awe. Yeah.
Right.
It's disgusting. It really, I mean, like, it really, I wouldn't have thought that at age 18. But now as a father of daughters, I don't want my son watching that old Attitude Era stuff. Like maybe the matches, maybe Stone Cold versus The Rock, like some of that stuff.
Right.
Sure. But the comedy bits, super inappropriate. The Val Venus era, Godfather era.
Yo.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Just the lows of the Attitude Era were the lowest probably of any era. The highs of the Attitude Era were probably higher than any era. When you get to a bit, when you're starting to question, Kane and Triple H's necrophilia, you're at the lowest of the low of the low.
Right.
And so I think they've learned, I think Rock and Hunter and those guys have learned, how do we do the best again and avoid the worst?
Yeah.
How do we have the highest highs without the lowest lows? Without any spaghetti sauce wrestling matches or whatever,
Judy Bagwell on a pole matches.
Just outrageous.
Or
nobody's being stripped out of their clothes, humiliated. There were actual storylines that involved things that we would not say on this program. And I'll just leave it at that. Just storylines that were humiliating for the talent. And involving real life triggering scenarios that would mirror forms of abuse and manipulation. I think we're so over that as society. We ain't going back there. We ain't going back there for entertainment. So,
Well, let's hope not. But I
right,
think you're right. I think that the Attitude Era, that's a good way to put it. It had the lowest lows and the highest highs. We focus on these because they were so good. We
right,
forget about these, but the reality is if the lows are brought to here, but the highs get back to here, it's going to feel astronomically better and different. And the other thing I think about the Attitude Era is the talent pool at that point was some of the best you had had. Like the top of the roster was obviously Stone Cold, and Stone Cold was the next Hulk Hogan, and he was the guy, and there was nobody else on his level until he had to step away and they had to punt. And all of a sudden, you had Triple H and Rock killing it. You had
right.
Mick Foley stepping in
Taker.
there.
Yeah,
You had
Undertaker.
Taker, you had Shawn Michaels, you had, I mean, it was like this proliferation of guys at the top. And I think
Right,
that's where we're getting to again. Like Roman, hopefully his era is done after WrestleMania. Hopefully Seth Rollins' era is done after WrestleMania. And suddenly you've got your LA Knights, plus your Roman Reigns, plus your Seth Rollins, plus your Drew McIntyre, plus your who else? Like there's so many people that we could pull up and just say, hey, this guy is the top guy. And what we didn't have in the Attitude Era that you hit on is now we can have the top women too. And it's not just a joke. Like it's not just a,
right.
sexualized whatever match. You
It
can
was
have
just
Rhea and
satire. It was
Becky
like
and
satire, and it was like Playboy magazine light.
right.
Like in the era of Maxim magazine, if you remember
Oh
Maxim.
yeah. That's
That's what
exactly what it
that
was.
and it was yeah, if you pull up Raw from 1999, any episode of Raw, you will probably not be entertained by it, and you will probably go, this kind of
What were we
sucks.
thinking?
What was I Did I really need that much commentary from Lawler? And does Lawler
Oh,
freak out anytime a girl is on screen? Is he
yeah.
not able to compose himself and be a gentleman? Period. You know,
Yeah.
like I watched some of it recently, and it was just like I don't remember Test being that featured, that prominent of a
Oh yeah.
superstar. I don't
At different
remember,
points.
and I was just thinking like, this is terrible. Like the Godwins versus the Headbangers, like terrible,
Yeah.
terrible. It wasn't that far removed from the new gen era that was so
Right.
terrible. Um, ugh, yeah,
Yeah. But if we do learn from that, now the question mark being, some people are asking, is The Rock in particular, now that he's a board member for TKO, has the ability to have his own writer, Brian Gerwitz, they're taking certain things over. Is he learning the wrong lessons? Is he missing the, oh, I remember it was because if you see Rock's promos, they're very much the Attitude Era. And it's interesting. I've seen articles lately that have said, I really enjoy this era if The Rock would just go away. And that's not what we thought we would be hearing. But it's like he's outdated. He's doing the Attitude Era shtick. And
yeah.
then Cody kind of got wrapped into it a little bit with his Homelander speech this past week.
Mm,
But at least, in my opinion, what Cody has been missing, we did a video on Cody going on the hunt. Like Cody has needed that killer instinct, not sit back and I
yeah.
hope the bloodline don't show up, or I might have to
He's
come in and bust some heads. Instead, it was him going, I am going after you, and here I
well,
am.
and still, it's a little too lethargic. Cody's missing emotion.
Yeah.
Cody's missing. Now, I loved when he cried. I loved it
Yeah.
because finally it's an emotion.
Right.
I think Cody, I would, I would, I would bet money that Cody is an Enneagram 3. And that's not a shot on any threes. Um, I think he genuinely wrestles with um his public appearances
Yep.
being less than Captain America, the
Right.
all-American golden boy,
Right.
smiles, muscles, fancy. Like I just don't know that he knows what to do deep down with emotion.
Right.
Um, and like I said, that's not a shot on anyone
No,
with that
I'm a
personality
three.
type. I think it's hard. I think it's very challenging for him to get angry on
Right.
demand on camera.
Yep.
And I think he doesn't like the way that would make him look.
You won't like me when I'm angry. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, we haven't talked about we talked about at some point doing an Enneagram and wrestling conversation, but the Enneagram 3, that's me. And emotion, aw,
I affirm you.
celebrations.
I
Look at
affirm who
that.
you are, Lee. I
If you're
recognize
listening to audio, you don't know what's going
yes.
on, but my screen just exploded with fireworks somehow.
Fireworks.
But so emotion, like the 3 just doesn't understand it. We just don't like it doesn't make
Mm,
sense to me. Like getting things done makes sense. Managing your
yeah.
public appearance makes sense.
Right.
Emotions doesn't make sense to me.
Finishing the
And
story makes sense, right? To
finishing the
Cody.
story makes sense. So my
Yeah.
emotional range is like here to here, right? And I probably spend a little too much time on the bottom end, but my bottom end isn't down here, right?
Mm,
It's here to
right.
here, but that means my top end also isn't like you kind of freaked out a little bit on the Hogan poll because I actually showed some emotion. Like that is
Yeah.
very rare for me, right? That's a
Yeah.
whoa, that broke the norm.
Yeah.
Because I don't
Yeah.
feel like
That was
it's not a
really
bad
cool.
thing. I
That
just
was a
don't
really cool
feel
moment. It was
those
so
much.
genuine. But see, right there, what we captured in that moment was the genuine essence of your joy. And
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen Cody be, we've not seen the genuine essence of his desire to win that belt. We've
Right.
not seen his genuine outrage at what The
Right.
Rock said about his
Yeah.
mother, right? Like, come on, you should have interrupted that promo and
Right.
pushed down the harmonica player, Cody, and
Right.
bashed him over the head with the guitar. Like,
Yeah.
you should have been out there
Milk truck, beer truck 3.0.
just he humiliated you. The Rock humiliated you.
Yep.
And I don't know that Cody knows how to feel humiliation.
Yeah.
I don't know that he knows how to respond to humiliation.
Wow. So, so we have these backups. We have these guys. So Cody wins. But now you do have your LA Knight who lives in the realm of emotion. He can make you feel things with every promo. Maybe he's not the superhero in the ring that Cody
Right.
is,
Right.
but he's got that killer instinct. He's got that verbal beatdown. He's got the ability to make you go ooh ah, ah, all these different feelings you've got. So you've got that balance in there. You've got CM Punk who's able to pull on those heartstrings a little bit, and then Drew
Yeah.
who just comes in and like,
Yeah.
I'm the one who killed CM Punk.
He
It's
just
great.
burns it to the ground. Drew just
Yeah.
burns it to the ground.
And so you've got
Drew's
this,
maniacal the way his
I
brain
know.
works.
I
Maniacal.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it. If
Same.
they keep going that path, I love it.
Right.
And you've got Seth Rollins, who again, he's the showy flash in the pan, but he makes you sing along and have a song, and
Annoying.
you enjoy it for this long. So it's all
He's so
sizzle, no
annoying.
steak.
He's
But
just annoying. I'm done. I fast forward. If you're a
yeah,
Rollins fan, I need you to know that I
sorry.
fast forward through the song. I just skip it. I hit like jump ahead 10 seconds. Oh, they're still singing jump ahead 10 seconds. Still singing jump ahead. Like I just can't.
Yeah,
I can't
right,
stomach it because
right,
it's cool because it's participatory,
right.
but it's not cool because it's Rollins. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything. There's no substance to it.
All filler, no meat to get the opposite of Booker T going in right there.
Yeah.
But we also have this depth of roster on the new side too. So the guys that used to be NXT, like your Tommaso and your Tommaso and Ciampa, I almost said, and Gargano, can now start to become the featured players. Your Bronson Reeds can start to become the featured players. Your what's her
Tiffany
name?
Stratton.
Tiffy time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tiffany Stratton. I think Braun Breaker. I think they're
Yeah.
on the rise. Their stock is rising.
Right.
Um, I don't want to see Rollins anymore. I'd rather see Trick and Mello come up to the
Yeah.
main. I'd rather see. I mean, gosh, are we now at a point where I'd rather see Baron Corbin back on the main roster? Like, give us a believable heel
Right.
Not a weird fashion diva. I mean, what's his gimmick? What is Rollins' gimmick? What is it?
Uh, it's the evolution of Hot Topic as purchased by the Gap.
It's like his thing is I'm the workhorse, which
Right.
means I'm on TV a lot. Okay, you're
Right.
on TV a lot. What do you do on TV?
Yeah.
You know, I have
He
the
wrestles.
title. But it's like your promos are not good. Your voice is annoying. The way you dress, you are the clown emoji that The Rock called you. Um, I mean, it's like
Yeah.
perfect. And I think The Rock might have buried Rollins. I don't know that the crowd is going to get back on board. And I think if Rollins does anything suspicious or shady or to hurt Cody in any way, he will never recover from it as a career.
Uh,
Never.
if he pulls a nice heel turn, it would be good. It would be fitting. And then he can move off from the title picture and Drew can face CM Punk at
I used
SummerSlam
to
and we can
love Seth
have
Rollins
all
when he
that.
was the greatest heist in WrestleMania history.
Oh yeah.
Like I loved that Rollins. Be
Yeah.
that again. Be the be
He
the be
could
the
be.
Joker. Be the Joker that steals, lies, cheats. Be Eddie Guerrero. Be Dominic. You want to
Right.
be a heel, right?
Right.
Uh,
Well, anyway, and Dominic, you mentioned there the Judgment Day. We got Balor, we got Priest. I mean, the depth of the roster is equal to the Attitude Era. All we're waiting for is for Cody, LA Knight, and a few others to hit that Rock, Triple H, Mick Foley, so on and so forth level, Stone Cold level, and boom, we've got it. Like Roman is the outgoing. He's not the incoming. He's
that's
the
a great
outgoing. He was
that's
the
a
king
great
of
way
the
to put
last
it.
era.
That's a great way to
So
put
we
it.
need the king of this era to show up now, and it will cement itself.
And that's really a great way to put it, Lee. And I think that's the articulation of what I'm feeling. And I would say not only is Roman that, but the Shield is that, right? That
All
era.
three.
Yeah. Well, just that era that would include probably Orton and Rollins.
Yeah.
It's time to put over
Cena.
the next guys. And Cena knows it. Cena's the
Right.
least self-delusional of them all.
Ironically. Yeah.
Cena is the one who's very well aware. My
Right.
job is to put over the Grayson Waller or
Yep.
the Theory. Like Cena's
LA
doing
Knight.
it. Cena's
Yeah.
letting the young guy go over,
Right.
right? Roman is not.
Yet.
Rollins is not.
Right.
Um, I don't know if it's locker room politics. I don't know if it's just that do you think people are spending money in the arenas on a Seth Rollins t-shirt? You know, with all of the choices out there, you think they're not buying an LA
Right.
Knight shirt, LA Knight shirt,
Oh
you
yeah, they're
know,
buying LA Knights 10-1, it seems like.
or a Judgment Day shirt that actually is really cool to wear.
Our truth.
Um, Judgment Day probably has the best merch, like as
Yeah.
far as like visually, aesthetically. I've dropped money on Judgment Day merch. That's how,
Yep.
and as cheap as I am about what I wear, that's how good their gear is. You know,
Right.
I just don't see. Maybe they're buying Bloodline shirts. I don't know.
They were, I mean, at the height of the Bloodline era, that was the best story wrestling had in decades. But
Mm,
we hit the apex of it around WrestleMania last year. Huh, interesting, right?
yeah, I
It's
could have kept
spun
it
its wheels
going,
for a year
and
since then.
I could have kept it going right with some of my ideas. Bring
Oh
in
yeah, you had
Naya.
some great booking. Or if they
Bring in
just brought in like
Naya.
Jacob Fatu,
Yeah,
Naya,
yeah. Bring in Rikishi. Have
Yep.
Rikishi be the guest ref in the Jimmy versus Jay match.
There's rumors he might be.
Come on, give it to us.
Yeah.
Give it to us. It would be so
Right.
good, so good. Um.
Right.
Anyway, we got to wrap up for today.
We do. We do. This was a good episode, Rusty. Thanks for being with us. If you missed it and only watched the second half where we talked about WWE TV, go back and check out this WWE Champions mobile game. It is by far, I think, the best wrestling game there's ever been, bar none, above 2K24, above No Mercy. But we just enjoy being a part of this community. Thanks for watching this. Share it with your friends and family and everybody who needs to watch wrestling content by some crazy guys who have been fans since we were like 2 years old. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.